Welcome to this candidate interview for the 2020 GSA elections. The GSA is the primary representative body for postgraduate students at the University of York and is run for students by students. Joining me for this interview is Fizza, who is running for the position of Vice President for Wellbeing and Community. Fizza, would you like to introduce yourself and say why you're running?
Yes. Hi. Thank you for this interview, this chat. I am a student. I'm doing my master's at the Center for Women's Studies. I'm actually in a 2-year program. So my first year I spent in Bologna, and then I am doing my second year here. And the reason I'm running is because it's interesting because a few months ago I had no idea that I would be running, but I've had over the course of my time here so many interactions with different departments at the university, with the GSA, with different services, and within the city as well. So talking, with different NGOs and organizations, both as a volunteer and also as someone who's you accessing their services. I am a mature student. I have a family, so there's all of this, need to kind of go beyond the university, which made me realize that the core of the problem is that the services are designed to almost, probably unintentionally, to sort of gatekeep or to block students from kind of overloading the service. So when you interact with the service, the first reaction anyone has is, okay, hold on, do you really need to be here? Instead of having a warm, welcoming, kind of service-led focus. So what ends up happening is that a lot of people kind of, just give up, and that also happened to me a few times till I was finally able to get the services I needed. So that kind of helped me have this broad vision of what really needs to be done. And because I have, like I've said in my manifesto as well, in the introduction, that I have 6 years of experience with student government in Asia, in the United States, and I've also spent some time in mainland Europe. So I kind of know a little bit about, what different universities are doing in different contexts. So that kind of made me feel like I'll be able to do a good job. So
Thank you.
that's about it. Yeah.
Now, what do you think is the biggest wellbeing issue facing postgraduate students, and how do you intend to combat it?
So I think currently, with the current situation, it is mental health, for sure. And with that, mental health is such a broad term, because with that, it encompasses academics, but also accommodation, rent, what's happening with the fee, what are the expectations, and concerns about future, like, the economy, and whether students are going to, be able to get a job after they graduate, or be able to continue to fund their studies if they're in a multi-year or part-time program. So that's kind of, with the uncertainty comes a lot of stress, and with that come a lot of mental health issues. And I think what has happened is that this whole COVID-19 situation has helped us see the importance of having structures which are, to put it in like really simple terms, just kind and to people, and always have some kind of understanding that there are people who are always, struggling and falling through the cracks, and sort of trying to maintain a balance between academic rigor, and universities' financial needs, etc., and serving the students. So I think the main thing is really just trying to see how the university's focus can be really serving the students. I honestly think that in like all of my experience, the UK student body is the least underserved in terms compared to the amount of money they pay or the amount of loans that they take out. to to attend university. And I think that's yeah, I mean, I think that's just tragic, especially in a situation like this, because a lot of people just end up struggling and not knowing what to do, where to go. So yeah, um, does that answer the
Thank you.
question?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, how do you intend to foster a sense of community for postgraduate students and especially postgraduate research students?
hmm So this kind of, I mean, the thing is that we do have a lot of um, diversity, and now with this situation, if there's students who are not going to even be on campus for part of the term or part of the year, then that's another concern. And I think the main thing is to when to sort of, I guess, like I have like a two pronged vision of how that can be done. One is to really go down to like interests. So if someone has a cause, or so if there's a society and someone cannot be a part of the society, or does not want to make a long-term commitment to the society, but they have a cause that they're interested in, so they can collaborate with the society to work on that cause for short term. And if they want to continue, of course they can. So sort of just really bringing it down to students' interests and feeling like they have a space to voice, or to work on the things that they're interested in. And the second thing is to not treat students as almost, or like especially the students on the margin, as almost like a burden. So I mean, I love that the mature students, for example, have this coffee hour and all of this like um, chat and information sessions and whatnot. But at the same time, we have to realize that a lot of these students come with a lot of resources. A lot of them have had long careers in certain areas or certain fields, and then they end up in this separate, like maybe they're going for career change, or just studying something for fun, or wanting to sort of delve deep into something through their PhD. So I mean, why not kind of give them a platform to go ahead and either become mentors, or to sort of teach others what they know about. So engaging them is not just about kind of being like, oh, we're here and we're here to help you, because not everyone thinks that they need help, because it's not sometimes, or a lot of people have are not clear whether this is the kind of help that they need. But just having, feeling like, okay, I can participate in this, I have something to offer, I have something meaningful that I can contribute, helps us foster a community through which then they can access information and help that they need.
Thank you. In that answer, you mentioned mature students, and indeed, you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned in your introduction that you are a mature student.
Mm-hmm.
They are a key constituency for the GSA. So,
Mm-hmm.
how do you intend to help build a community for mature students, including those who've retired from full-time work to pursue education?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, some of my answer already kind of covers that, where they just tapping into the interest and giving them platforms to um, do whatever they want, to be a part of the community instead of being treated. I mean, already I think like I've when, especially with people who are coming after long careers into education, they feel a little bit um, almost like treated as if they're you know they're not used to being kind of talked to like a child almost, which I mean, I have a few classmates, who are mature students, who feel like they're really find the professors or other students really patronizing sometimes. So I think to balance that out, we do need to give them, acknowledge that they come with a wide range of experiences and information and knowledge and skills that they can transfer. So just that's one thing. Then the other aspect of mature students also is, many of them have families. Some of them are part-time students. Some of them are commuting from afar. So really going down to a lot of these constituencies. So it's one thing to have something in Vanbrugh, for example. We can have like an event in Vanbrugh, but what about targeting, for example, the Halifax College, or those family housing, or those specific areas where these students are um, located? Because I know for a fact that a lot of mature students don't have the time to participate in, like, you know the kind of community events or events that are happening on campus or used to happen on campus. So just going down to them and trying to um, set up events that really work with them. So if there's a sports event, for example, or if there's sports, so for example, GSA offers, like, sports sessions. What about having family-based sports sessions, or having sports sessions where children and where just the children can meet up, trying to organize, maybe, sort of a babysitting, like, circle, and different things like that, which will just kind of really targeting what they need and communicating with them, and asking them what they need. So
one of the things you just mentioned there in the context of mature students was the sports provision that's on offer. Now, what would you do to improve sporting provision for postgraduate students more generally?
More generally, actually, I kind of want to take it back to um, how decisions are made in the university and who they're made for. So I think, instead of me saying, okay, this is what we need for mature students, yes, I mean, I can rattle off a few things. I can say yes, maybe more like classes. I said, like something catering to commuting students, or coaching lessons, or families, or whatnot. I can come up with a list. But what is more important is having, ensuring that students and the GSA, but also through the GSA, the largest student postgraduate body, has a say in how money is spent on campus. So whether, so both transparency, accountability, but also a voice in policy making and decision making. So whether that money is spent on sports provision, or creating a new building for something or the other, um, or accommodation, and like halls, things like that. That's kind of what kind of is the thing that I'm pushing for. Just having, sort of changing the university's attitude towards how they think of students. So not students are supposed to be, I guess, in this economy, clients, but they're not even but they're not even customers, but they're not even served properly as that. So it's interesting to me as an outsider to see how they're not constituents, in that they don't always have a voice in what happens at the university. They can be marginalized. So sometimes, a section of the community will get an email where they feel threatened almost, that about their visa situation or something like that, and this information, or this message is coming straight from the university or the VC. So there are all of these little things. So instead of me just saying, this is what I want, what I think there should be, I think what really just needs to happen is for students to have, especially uh, postgraduate students, to have a say in how the university runs and how funding is allocated, what happens to the money that they're paying.
Thank you. I've got a couple of questions more specifically related to your manifesto now. And the first one of these is that you list visibility as a key issue. So what would you do to improve this for both you as an officer and for the GSA?
Yeah, so I think just, I mean, have talked already about, like, holding events that really are kind of catered to the community, the specific community or constituency that we're trying to reach out to. And I think one part of that is just being present at, vocal and present at different department events, different college events, and just sort of going there as, like, okay, hi, I'm here just to introduce myself. And this applies not only, I hope, to myself, but also to the network coordinators and the advisors working, with the sabbatical officer. So just trying to kind of get have like a person to person contact with different people. So um, not just holding coffee hour or whatever, like an open office hour type thing at where the GSA office is, but sort of trying to go and going to East Campus, going to different cafes, just sitting there, and sort of just making yourself available. I think that is key, because I mean, it's interesting, especially to me, with this whole COVID-19 situation, just how many people have questions, but they don't know who they can turn to, even though, the GSA is doing. Oh, that's great. Do you want to go again, go on the slide? I'll be there with you in 5 minutes. So just going back, sorry for that. But yeah, just really going to the different constituencies and making yourself visible, just doing practical things. But obviously, with the COVID-19 situation, really just using colleges and using maybe reaching out to the different students in different cities that are kind of stuck, for example, in a different part of the country or in a different part of the world, and just trying to organize support groups over there. So really just trying to get a sense of how the community already works, and trying to sort of scaffold, build a scaffold around that, scaffolding of support, a scaffolding of just availability and communication.
Thank you. Now we're getting towards the end, so there's one more question from me, and then I'll hand it over to you to give you a chance to conclude. So, in one sentence, why should people vote for you?
For a number of reasons. I have been on different sides of the equations. I've been in educational administration. I have been a student I've been an international student, and I also have been, someone who both gives advice, and is in a sort of like a student government position, but also, students seeking services. So I think because I can relate to a lot of different things, and also I've experienced, like I've said, just communicating with universities. Some of them were very inflexible, but just communicating with universities, communicating with transnational bodies, even with especially my scholarship, um, which is the Erasmus Mundus scholarship, just kind of talking to the European Commission about the specific problems that international students are having in Europe. So just, I mean, I have a lot of experience, and I think I can do a good job. I'm pretty confident, and that's it.
Thank you. That is a very long sentence, but we'll leave it there. So now you have a quick chance to say anything else you wish to add about what you stand for, why you're running, and anything else you want to cover.
Yeah, I think just to sort of summarize the points that I've already made, what I'm here for, like I've said, sort of a kind of being able to reach out to as many students, communicating with as many students as possible, expanding visibility and communication within the student body, and then using that information to both provide services and pushing the university to provide better services and better communication with the students, and also with the large, using my links within the larger community to provide not just services, but also I would say advocacy for the students who might need some kind of support. So sort of being there throughout the process of them trying to fit, from the first moment when they realize they have a problem, and all the way down to when the problem is solved.
Fizza, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.